Hello and welcome to Beyond the Mirror podcast. I'm super excited to have today a marketing guru, John Pascal, who came all the way from Barcelona. And on this episode, we will be talking about all things marketing because everyone's trying to crack the marketing through personalization, growing your brand, but sometimes it's difficult to find what's working. We're trying different things. So asking the expert is always the best thing. So I hope to pick up a lot of tips from you today that we can also implement in our practice.
I hope I can help your audience too.
Thank you very much. So tell us about what marketing really is, because like a lot of people when we talk about marketing, especially in aesthetic clinic, some clinics don't do any marketing, some people don't believe in it, some people do it very good, some people do it not so good. Yeah. So what marketing really is and what it meant to deliver to your business and how important it is.
Well, I'm biased, clearly. I've studied marketing. That's what I've been doing for almost 18 years. The very short answer is marketing is bringing your product or service to the market. It doesn't necessarily mean big campaigns or big adverts. It just means bringing it to the market. And as we know, it can be word of mouth. It can be big on social media, and it comes into many different forms. I'm passionate about it because I think at the core of it is what is it that you're bringing? And in the case of aesthetic medicine, whether it's the product, the services, or the treatment, you have such a big impact on people's lives. There's so much pride in this. So the idea of marketing it, so bringing that to the market, excites me, and it's been exciting me for a very long time.
So you said about different ways of marketing. So let's just explore the first one, word of mouth. So how effective it is, because the reality is a lot of medical professionals enter aesthetic and they think I'm skillful, I'm medical, I'm good in my medical field. I will train in aesthetic, I'll set up a clinic and people will come. Maybe some people think like that and then one person will recommend another person and this person will recommend two more people and I grow my clinic base this way. So how effective word of mouth is?
I think there's two ways of looking at it. It's a funny question because I think word of mouth is the most powerful tool you will ever have.
I agree.
I think a couple of years ago, I get excited about campaigns, I get excited about everything, but I say to everyone who would listen, I say, if I'm working on a brand, clinic, or anything, I'm more excited about the conversations that people have when I'm not in the room. So when two friends are having dinner and they talk about a brand or a clinic, that's where I want to be. But I can't be there directly, so I just have to work through it. So word of mouth is really important because, again, you can see an ad 100 times, but if someone you trust tells you go there, that comes top of the list immediately.
Absolutely.
However, in your example of I'm just going to set up and rely on word of mouth entirely, in my experience, that doesn't work. And for, again, a very, very simple marketing reasons, which I hammer over the head all the time, is life gets in the way.
Yes.
People might have the best intention. They leave your clinic and they say, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm going to tell all my friends. And then they get a phone call. They have to go to work. One kid is sick. Life gets in the way. And that's why you see a lot of these word of mouth incentives. You kind of have to remind people of this. Sometimes like, tell a friend, and member get member. If you tell a friend, you're going to get, maybe a discount or a little gift initiative. And the idea is not necessarily to bribe people at all. It's just because life gets in the way. Just like when people, in the companies where I've worked at before, we sat on market research saying some people are at home and every day they think about treatment for 10 years. Not once a year on their birthday, think about having a treatment, but they don't. It takes them 10 years from the first time they started thinking about it every day till they book an appointment. And often we can think about all the barriers, finance or, understanding the treatment. Often life just gets in the way. What we do every day is really easy to repeat, but to do something different, be it search for a practitioner, find the time, that is what gets in the way. And that's why word of mouth alone, thinking, I treated that person, they're going to talk about it and bring me a lot of the patients. You need to do more stuff to stay on top of people's mind and empower them to speak about you.
Sometimes I think in aesthetic, people like to be very discreet. So they might be very happy with what you did, but they not necessarily want to tell their friends why they look so
Or they will
good.
call it yoga.
They call it yoga, lifestyle, or genetic.
Absolutely. And that's why you
So
can't just rely on the good treatment. I think, I'm assuming, not being a practitioner, from having someone in your chair and having a conversation, there's a way to evaluate, oh, this person is likely to talk about me, this person is likely to keep it more of a secret close to their chest. And that is absolutely fine. But yes, relying on word of mouth alone might not work.
So you mentioned social media. So let's dive into that. I think we need another episode just
Social
for
media
this
alone,
one.
yes.
But from your perspective, how effective it is, and what tools are available there? Is it better that practitioner does it themselves, or do they use an agency? Do they use generic images? Do they use ChatGPT nowadays? So what is the right, I don't know, secret recipe?
So when it comes to social media, if you think of the biggest platforms, that is Instagram, TikTok, even Facebook for some of the demographics, get people to see you, right? But before the tactics, I think I like to always come back to the strategy of the who is it that you are, what is it that you're trying to do? Because where a lot of money and time and resource can be lost is going onto an Instagram page and then, I don't know, maybe jumping on every trend, or just going, oh, this week, I think I'm going to put a lot of before and after photos, or tomorrow I'm going to be very aspirational, and the next week is going to be about jokes. I generally feel that there's not one, as long as you remain ethical, that is wrong or good. You have to understand, what is it that you want to do? What is your positioning? Do you want to have a voice of science? Do you want to have a voice of fun? Do you just want people to look at your videos, and you might have the highest numbers of views, but an empty waiting room and a very clear calendar? I think it's setting that, almost that direction, if you're a ship, and sticking with it. You can be the funny practitioner, you can be the relatable practitioner, you can be the discreet practitioner. All of them are valid, and they're going to work better, I think, if they're close to you and your personality and what you're really going to deliver. You can be super premium, you can be really affordable. I think all of these options work, but pick one direction and stick to it, even on social media. I think, again, with trends, and I myself, from my own account, sometimes I'm on it, sometimes I'm off it. With trends, it's easy to jump on them, and sometimes even getting 1 million views, is that leading to more appointments? Maybe not, because maybe you don't have 1 million patients who are near you, or even people think you're funny, but they don't think you're trustworthy, and it can all work. What I think is a stronger position to start from is, like, if you already have a patient base, then look at who they are, because you're going to find trends and patterns, because these people have found that, maybe if I say a more mystical term, they found that energy aligns with yours. And I say, go for more of these patients, see what they like, what they engage with. And that is what is going to give you more of these people who already like you, for the lack of a better word.
I think what you're also explaining is just to be yourself.
Yes.
I just wanted to share with you. Have you looked at my social media, at Angels 12 social media pages?
I have over the years, but not recently. I'll be completely transparent.
Oh, it's a shame. I would ask you to give me a constructive feedback.
Oh, sorry.
But I do. I think what I apply. We have a business profile, and I have my personal. And my personal tend to perform better through like LinkedIn and Instagram, and I don't use Facebook personally, so our business page is just performing much better on Facebook, because we're using it and we do targeted marketing as well as educational posts. But why I started this conversation, I do mix of post about more of the lifestyle and personal, and what I do with how I can feel the best I can. And what I hear from every single patient who come to our clinic, the most common comment:
that's where they relate.
I enjoy watching your exercise. So I do have a mixture of posts. So it's about products, skincare, food, before and after, of course, what's happening. Like today, I put a story on Instagram. What is the agenda for the day? But yes, I get some comments, but I would say it's almost guarantee if the patient, some patient, I even wouldn't know that they have Instagram account and they said, your workout's really good, I'm enjoying them. So I think sometimes maybe just finding niche and listen to the feedback from
100%. I think that works, and I'm not going to go into what's your exercise routine, but I understand it. It's you, and no matter what, we try to be, maybe I say professional with quotation marks, but I think, I'm only going to show the clinic, but people are interested, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad place curiosity. People want to understand the person, the reality, and make you more relatable, like a Taylor Swift song. It can be very specific, but people like it because it's, I see your personality, I see who you are, and people looking at your exercise, they think that's different. I've seen a lot of pages or clinic that are trying to be maybe the idea of what a clinic should be, or what a healthcare professional should be. And here we are talking back about AI. If you ask AI to generate this for you, you're gonna get this generic, probably bland, unless you go really down with the prompt and refine it. But what people resonate with is not necessarily what you would have expected, but you put yourself out there, and this is what the feedback is. I really like watching your exercise. Doesn't mean they don't pay attention to the before and after, because that's also something that matters, but that's what stops them. And I think if we all see it, we scroll, who wins it, who stops, makes you stop. You don't necessarily have to be outrageously provocative, but show people something that will resonate with them.
Coming back to the marketing again, so we covered word of mouth, social media. So what are the forms? So paid marketing, let's explore that. Yeah. So how effective it is, and is it something you can do yourself, or would it be better to use professional help?
I personally, and I guess it will depend on ways of your size, but I like the idea of outsourcing into professional help. And I'm not pitching for my own business. I don't do social media, but it's so much more than one might think. And it might, personally, I think suck you in. But at the end of the day, your main business, unless you want to go into social media, is treating patient, helping patient. It takes so much more work and knowledge to be successful on social media than what people imagine, that sometimes I think, you might get sucked in. That time could be used to attend a training class, a training course, upskill what you can do in the chair. Some people are on Instagram all day and they will tell you, this should be your next 5 posts, and that's going to be successful. I think it's a choice. You might get sucked into doing a lot of your own social media. If it works and it comes naturally to you, I think that's great, and you cultivate that following. But if you're starting up, because that's my idea, you're starting up as a clinic and say, what do I do? I think work with someone. Not massive agencies, but more and more agencies, whether it's PR or social media, specialize in this field, and they help you get to reach people that are going to resonate with your content, but also, which I'm assuming for most people, you can translate into patients. Because it's great to be a star on Instagram worldwide, but if no one is within the vicinity of your clinic, again, that's a different career. Do you want to be big on Instagram, or do you want to be big in your clinic? Maybe you can balance both.
And what is your view on the paid marketing, like Google ads, Facebook ads? So how effective they are, and how clinics can implement those?
Paid ads can be very effective. Before going to big campaigns, where I think they're really effective is almost an alternative to market research, because it will show you real people behavior. So you might just say, my clinic is positioned as ABC. Let me try what works best with patient. Is it best to promote, liquid facelift? Now, this is an expression we're using years ago. Or is it best to promote this, and seeing, what is getting people clicking through and looking at the data, and then be able to see this. I think one of the bases of marketing is sometimes awareness. When people, see you, they're aware, you become familiar, and they start trusting you, even when they don't know you. So that paid investment can help, but you have to bear in mind that you build that over time, and that's not necessarily directly going to translate into sales.
And with regards to paid marketing,
Yeah.
that is maybe very specific question. Everyone has different budget, but in your experience, what is the average budget clinics should allocate for their marketing campaigns? Not a total marketing, but let's just say, for example, they run a campaign for non-surgical facelift for 1 month. There is, I hear a lot that there is a difference that if you spend more, you will get more, like your ad will appear higher and you will get more leads, and you then need to convert those leads into active patient. So is there any recommendation on that? Because do clinics need to budget for marketing? What is in a modern world for small aesthetic business is a reasonable marketing budget for paid ads?
In all transparency, I'm not as close to the paid marketing aspect of things. No, absolutely not. The one thing that I would say is sometimes if you're a clinic that is small and starting up, think your advantage is human scale, human level. So what I've experienced with working with other businesses sometimes is can you partner with a business that has customer and turn into an event? It can be a small event. That small event of maybe 15 people, 20 people coming to your clinic is going to plant a bigger seed than what you can spend in terms of having them see something on Instagram or having them see something online that is less tangible. If people, if you've managed to have people to come and be in your clinic, already that's a bigger conversion. Because the thing we also have to appreciate, and we all know that journey, that conversion from I first heard about you to I'm getting a treatment, can be weeks, can be months, can be years.
100%.
So the money, the idea of today I'm going to spend 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 pounds, you might see it back, but maybe not for a very, very long time. And when you spend sometimes at a high stage of the funnel, you might raise awareness for someone who thinks, oh yeah, I might be getting, a body contouring treatment. But when they think about it, 9 months later, they go somewhere else. So it's the awareness versus something that is very, very local. I think the way I would see it, I would say as a if you're a smaller clinic or you're starting out, you don't have to behave like a big, multi-billion corporation. You can just think locally what works. And if we go back again to this word of mouth, is partnering with other neighboring businesses, and that aspect can be very impactful. There's an anecdote, if you don't mind me sharing, that I've heard years ago, and I still think, I was like, is it urban myth? It's been so long, but I'm still thinking, does it work? It was the idea of, I don't know what company launching what product, but they said, okay, we need this product to be talked about. And what they did is they invited hairstylists and they invited taxi drivers. And it may sound very silly because they say, who speaks a lot? Who speaks to a lot of people every day? They say, hairstylists, they speak to a lot of people every day, and taxi drivers, they speak to a lot of people every day. If we tell them about what we're doing, they're going to speak to everyone. And that's going to raise awareness massively. And I always think, like I say, this story has been told to me so long ago, I don't even know if it's true anymore, but I think it does make sense. If people start talking about you, I'll go back to it's not about the advertising, it's about, I now have your ear. We're in this meeting where, no one else is, but let me tell you about this clinic. Let me tell you about this treatment.
Oh, it resonates with me so much because you said about hairstylists and that they talk a lot to people. I remember it was US, or I might be mistaken with the countries, that it must be maybe one of South American countries, so that they have a very high rate of breast cancer in women. Mm-hmm. And they educated a hairstylist on the breast examination, and then they were talking to their clients.
They reached so many people, I'm sure.
And that absolutely, I think, because that is what they do, and you spend a lot of time with your hairstylist, and many people would say your hairstylist is your therapist as
Sometimes,
well.
Yes.
And I know this practically because our other clinic I don't know if you knew or not, we have a hair salon on the ground
Oh,
floor.
that I didn't know.
So with a wonderful stylist, and people will change their dentist, their doctor, maybe even their husband before they change their hairstylist when they're loyal to one. So I think it's a very good recommendation, and it's definitely worked for us. But again, it's about giving people time to make their own decision. The worst you can do is pressurize people, but when you give them ability of choice and provide them with the right information to make their own choices, I think that is the best what you can do.
And if I can bounce off what you said, I think time is important. But what I would say to patients or potential patients, people who are at home and who think, oh, I may be getting this, so I don't know. I say, maybe you've spent enough time thinking on your own. Go speak to your practitioner. You don't have to have a treatment, but go speak to someone, because at some point it's important to see a professional who has treated hundreds of thousands of patients and bring that to mind. It doesn't mean you're going to have a treatment, but just get that input to decide, what next step could be right for me.
Oh, absolutely. And the last question, let's talk about PR.
Yes.
So marketing and PR, what's the difference?
I think they often work together. If you think of marketing, marketing and PR, there is a simple way of looking at it. I think marketing is the brand or the product or the clinic saying, I'm great. PR is finding a way to have someone else say that you're great. So you might speak to a journalist and the journalist writes an article. You might work with other partnership and these people say that. And the balance of both are important, because there's only so many times that I can tell you, I'm a great marketing consultant, you should work with me. But if now someone else walks in and tells you it's two voices. So that's where you find the balance. Again, I find that in the past decade or more, I've seen so many more PR firms specializing into supporting clinics, and often they often take also on board the event part of things. Again, as I say, if you bring people in your clinic, sometimes it's going to be so much more effective than spending a lot of money with posters, flyers, and all sorts of other activities. They help with public relation or relationship with other and will amplify the voice of saying, hey, this business is great.
Well, JP, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And I've learned from you some new tricks that I will be applying to our marketing. And I think as a reflection also thought, that is great, we're doing that. And then I think, these things we can do and implement and do it better. So it has been so useful. And guys, I hope you will find some useful information and some good pick up some good tips for your clinics. And thank you very much for watching this. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Oh, this is great.